You feel like if you were to lose everything you've worked for tomorrow, what would you do and how would you act? And he's like, you want to know how I would do it? And he was like, I've done this before. So if I went broke and I had to file bankruptcy and I had to do all this stuff, he's like, I know I could start over and do it even better.
Yeah.
He's like, but my faith stays the same. Like, I will not lose my faith. He's like, but what about you? And I was like,
Yeah.
dang. Like,
Hello, everybody. John Grogan and Edgar Ramirez here with the Rewind podcast. We're on our 15th episode, and today just wanted to talk a little bit. We're in the fourth quarter of business here. We're in October, so getting into the slow season, closing down busy season, and wanted to just discuss what it's been a very busy year for both of us, business-wise, with a ton of growth and developments there. And then on top of that, we both had kids, both of our first kids, which is pretty big. So,
second kid for me.
What?
Champ.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, what? No, I was just kidding.
Yeah. In that case, yeah, I have a terrible older brother for my son. I guess Rogue is awful. Yeah, he's good.
He's not a bad dog. He's curious.
Curious.
You're gonna have your hands full when Oliver is old enough to be curious.
It's hilarious because Oliver is started to notice him. And so he just looks at him all day. And anytime he's on the floor and they're next to each other, Oliver immediately starts to make his way, crawl his way over to him. And anytime Rogue notices, he looks at him, he stands up, moves 3 feet left, and stop. Because if Oliver gets close enough to him, he will grab his tail, he'll grab him, pinch him. And
really,
one of these days he's going to know that Rogue doesn't like that.
Yeah,
so
that's funny. Yeah, I don't think, our kid does that, but she'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But no, you mentioned it. We're going to talk about that. So I guess shit is going.
Yeah. Well, I'll start off with the first question. Going into the fourth quarter, how do you feel life has... this year has been very different for me, apart from other years in business.
Mm-hmm.
But how is this going into the fourth quarter? How do you feel, I guess, with your perspective on an outlook on being now both a husband, well, you were a husband, but a father and a business owner, and then balancing the relationship between home priorities and business?
At first, it was, I think, in my opinion, because you're also a father, so maybe you see it differently. But before Ellie, you guys all know that work comes first for me always. Well, my wife, my faith, work, all that stuff, but work is what provides. And I don't think I had a full grasp on balance because one, Alex works here, so I can work and see her and be around everybody. But now that we have a daughter, weekends are starting to become a thing where I don't want to work weekends because that is my time with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So separating work with family and has been very important lately. And so it's even sometimes when I used to get home at 7, 8 p.m., now it's turning to I need to be home by 5:30, 6 p.m. so I can enjoy dinner with my wife, enjoy dinner with Hallie, and enjoy just seeing her grow instead of just being absent for X amount of hours a day. And then I don't see either one of them. And then I think there's a disconnect there where I don't want to be that kind of person. And it's I was telling Alex a couple days ago, I was like, I will work very hard from the morning until I'm clocked out at 5 or 6 p.m. But I need to be fully efficient during those times. So when I get home, I don't feel like that there's something missing or I didn't finish something that day that I have to do tomorrow, and then it's in my head. So that's what it's been like for me. And then with the business and everything, I think it's still pretty much the same, just growth, perseverance, selling, teaching everybody, all that stuff. And
a little bit different because now you can't. I remember ever since probably a few months ago, you would work weekends, you would work long days. How did that shift happen, I guess, where you because some people don't realize that and they continue to stay workaholics and they continue to prioritize that because I mean it is an important, like finances are an important thing and that's what provides and keeps the bills paid. So how did you shift to where, or I guess what gave you the confidence to shift to put more time in home rather than continue to hustle?
I just want to be a part of their life at home. I don't want to be absent. I don't want to miss that mark. Like we talked about it earlier. Like if my one of my kids came to me and said, you weren't present or you weren't at this event or you weren't a good father, like I don't want that. Like I want to be present. I want to when it's time to eat dinner, I want to sit down at the table, eat dinner. When it's time to sit down and hang out, I want to be there. She's learning how to crawl and walk, I want to be a part of those things. I don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
And so that's been a big change in my mind that I want to be present with them. And that means I need to figure out my schedule fully so I can be, again, efficient when I'm working and then I can clock out when I need to clock out. And in my mind, it used to be like there's no option. You have to work, which I mean, I'm down to work 12, 14 hours if I have to, but it can't be, I know it can't be every day. Um, and if you have a plan and you execute on the plan, I think you can make a big impact if you are very efficient, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you can touch base on that now if you want,
Yeah.
but that's just my point of view. But you're kind of in the same boat. So I mean, I know that I do my thing, you do your thing, you're running production, and so how has it been for you? You tell me.
Yeah. No, I agree. Finding that balance is definitely hard. And I think it just comes down, I think a lot of people have the right motives, like they probably want to spend more time at home and maybe they just haven't figured the scheduling thing out. Me, I'm still working on that. But I think it really hit for me to balance that and to be at home more when Oliver like started to be more aware. I would say around like month 3 or 4, like because when they're little, when they're like 1, 2 months old, you know, they pretty much do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Sleep, poop, they look around and stuff like that, but they're not, super aware. And then, but when like I could start to see his personality start to develop and change like overnight. Like it was weird because, I live further away from you. So like, I don't usually get home until used to be late, like 7:30. Now I try and get home around, we work a little bit earlier, get home around 6:30, but it's still like, it was a long enough time to where like I saw a noticeable difference in just his temperaments and like, just, how like I could start, I can't even explain it, but I could literally watch him develop and like see those changes. Whereas Kayla, my wife, she just, she doesn't notice those changes because she's with him 24/7. But I'm like, do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see? I'm like, she's like, oh, I guess, yeah, that is happening. And then when he became more aware, like when I go a weekend with him, like when I'm home fully on the weekend, he gets super comfortable with me, wants to be with dad. He wants to spend the mornings with dad. He wants to do all this. But like when I work a full week, the nights that I get home, like he gets less and less comfortable with me. Like he still wants to stay with mom. And so that's where it's like, all right, I need to spend as much time with him because it's just like his overall comfortability around me changes when I'm not present as much.
Yeah, it's crazy. They catch on.
They do.
They're learning. They're sponges right now, and whatever they see, like anything, no matter what, like you just see their curiosity, just like watching you. They're just watching you like hawks.
Yeah.
And like you can be walking around to go grab a plate, and they're literally following you the whole way.
Yeah.
It's like, jeez, like why?
Yeah.
But it's because you're their life, and they're learning everything about life through you, and it's like it's just like it's a beautiful thing, I think.
Yeah, and it makes you be incredibly aware, like I mean, of like just how much they're absorbing and like how much everything you're doing now is going to. People don't think, at least I don't think they think, I don't know, that when they're that little, like you can kind of still just kind of, you don't have to be as present, or like some people have that mindset to not be as present when they're that young because they're they're not as aware. They're not going to remember as much or anything like that. But I think that's the complete opposite. I mean, these are the development stages. This is like literally building their character right now. And
Yeah.
so they're like looking every day. It's like they may not remember it, but it's building their brain. It's like looking at your habits, your mannerisms, what you do, everything.
Yeah.
There, so I think it's far more. I think it's one of the most stages. One of the biggest stages probably to be present.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what life's been like, when you ask how life has been with
Yeah.
business and having kids now and everything. I think it's changed a lot. Quarter 4, when you think of it, in my opinion, it's continuing to move forward as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and so what does that
you-
mean for you? Like right now, yeah, like what's your opinion about moving forward as we continue to just do business in winter? I mean, we're literally next week on the 7th, we have the first freeze
Yeah.
of the year, and that just means like snow is around the corner. It can happen pretty much any day now.
Right. I mean, I think that a lot of people in our industry, they seem to have the mindset of like work super hard during the winter and then take the winters off. I don't think there's been a single winter that we've taken off ever since we've not only started the company, but ever since we've been in the industry. So I don't think it's anything new than what we've experienced before, just because, we know how to work through the winter. It's just, the varying degrees on how bad the winter is going to be. I think my goal right now is being the head of production is to, get everything closed out, obviously, but then, not like, I mean, still, being aware, like bills still got to get paid. So we still have to I still got, sales coming in. And so continue to produce and then looking at like, so what jobs and what, if the winter is really rough, like how can we set ourselves up to have jobs ready for next spring? And I think that that's how we take every winter is like how many deals can we, like how many people can we set up to have their roofs built in spring, their houses painted in spring, and then looking at those other avenues of really getting invested in networking groups and things like that. There's always going to be door knocking and stuff, but my goal right now is to move into where you're really thriving, which is like commercial and stuff like that, and to get into those areas because that's really where we set ourselves up long term.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think the same, pretty much. I guess, I mean, like you said, we don't stop. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
it'd be nice.
you can shut. I mean, a lot of companies, you hear it, they close shop for winter. They won't build anything. They won't touch a roof. I mean, they'll do repairs and stuff, but people will not do a roof during winter until springtime, which, you're looking at March, the end of March, beginning of April, whatever that looks like, people will stop. For us, it's like,
Maybe, maybe we could explore, sorry to cut you off, but like maybe we could explore that in the future as far as maybe it would be. I mean, I think we've just worked because we can work. Maybe that's something we can look at as far as like maybe as long as finances are there and everything's there. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Now that I think about it, it's like, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it,
yeah, it's like, like you can shut down shop, like you can close doors, say we don't do anything until spring. You've saved up all this money, which is fine. But at the same time, it's like, what is like, you get to spend time with family. You can make time for that. But you don't have to shut down, in my opinion. You can, especially if you're trying to grow. And if you're between $2 million and $5 million in revenue for the company, you should probably, if your goal is to get to 7, 8, 9, 10 million in business, you need to not shut down shop. You need to keep working, keep going, because I mean,
well, if your goal is, which ours 10 million,
yeah,
man,
right.
why job's not finished in the words of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And so that's my opinion is you can't stop. You have to keep doing. Like, what do you do if it snows?
Right. Well, and we got employees. Yeah. We got employees and stuff like, so there's like, I mean, really, shutting down shop and closing doors would mean, not a good thing for anybody. And then on top of that, I don't think it's good for your mental health.
No.
Either.
Yeah.
Um,
There's so much to do out there. Like there's so many ways you can implement into your company to generate business for repairs. I mean, we can do pretty much anything. And for us, I think during winter, we are starting to learn more.
Right.
We don't know everything. We haven't. It's not like we jumped into business and said we know this is what we're doing from 2020 to 2025. And it was more like last month sucked. What do we do this month to not
Yeah.
feel the pain from last month?
Yeah.
And it's been like that every month, just learning, adapting, learning, adapting, learning, adapting. And right now, like, there's a few accounts, if you look back to 2022, that we had open or accounts as far as people owing us money. It's like you look at those numbers, it's like, why did those people steal money? What did we do wrong?
Right.
How do we change it? Like all of our jobs currently that we're doing, we're signing them and we're building them 2 to 3 weeks later.
Right.
And it used to be where I don't think we had a sound process where it was like 2 months later, and then we're like, maybe less than 2 months, 5 to 6 weeks. And they're sitting there waiting, and it's like, oh well, yeah, let's put you in the queue or the schedule. But it's like
Right.
now we have a game plan of like, we set a job today, we're building it 2 weeks.
Right.
And I've been setting times at the table with them, like, where we're gonna build you on the 13th. How does that sound?
Right.
Great. And then we put it in the calendar. Everybody gets messages. You shoot it off. And we've been collecting AR a lot better. So that's something I think we're starting to master a little bit more. AR. I think we've gone through the sales, production, and now AR.
Yeah.
And so
Well, like you said, it's cycles as far as like focusing on one. I think before we were maybe spreading ourselves too thin, and we just lack of experience, didn't know what we were doing, signing contracts and stuff, and without actually like, we know how to build the roof, we know how to do these things, but not having like all of those middle steps in between and just kind of like shooting from the hip, figuring it out, which created a lot of problems. And we're seeing a lot of those problems. We saw a lot of those problems this year, and a lot of those problems last year. But like you said, like now figuring out all of the steps in between, and then also before it was like trying to like, have your hand in the pot everywhere, work on AR, work on sales, work on production. And it just ends up, you spread yourself too thin, right? Where if you like, you can hone in on one, which you got really good at. And then each one of those, you can make progress in this one this week, progress in this one this week, and then progress in this one this week, repeat.
mm-hmm.
Which I think the next step from there would be facilitating a team to start to work on all those simultaneously.
Yeah.
That's like, I think that's how we'll get to 5 or 10 million.
Yeah. No, I agree. And we're on, pretty close on the pace to do way more volume. But I think with what we have, with what we're trying to do and the quality that we're doing, I mean, it's like you can bring in 10 people, put them in payroll, and then everybody sucks. And then you're down thousands of dollars in mistakes. And it's better when you're learning it yourself and you're not being a lazy owner and you're working hard with your team, even if it's 5, 6, 7, or 8 people, whatever that number is. You're working towards the same goal, and that's what separates companies that are going out of business, in my opinion. And talking to some of the people that we've made really good relationships with like Marco and Ben and Steve, and the fact that you have to have a game plan financially of like, if people don't want to work, it's like, why pay them? Like, I can send an invoice. I can sell a roof. I can do production. I can order my job. Like, why have all these things if you're not even producing the volume that you need to produce to cover that kind of payroll?
Of course, yeah.
But in regards to personal life, I know we talked now a little bit about business, but the whole thing about having a kid now, and that's changed. How's the faith side of things?
It's good. Yeah, that is a deeper question. We were talking about this earlier today. I mean, the state of the world, we don't need to go into things like that, but that definitely affects things. I mean, ever since running a business or owning a business, that's one of the things. I think one of the things we want to go into this podcast is, your 4 core values, but that's unfortunately dropped because I have we'll go ahead and like jump into it. My 4 core values and in order, and then we can go over yours, would be faith, family, fitness or health, and then finances. So kind of the business being the bottom of those 4 things. I think the other 3 things trump, or those are more important to keep in order than the other one, where if you have those 3 in order, that one should be fine. But in actuality, probably what has the actual order that's been in has been probably finances, family, fitness, and faith. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
literally the polar opposite. Like, that's probably the order that it's actually in. And so I've been working more and harder to get that where it needs to be, because if you don't have a good mental headspace, you're not going to perform. Like, that's why I think that, your faith has to come first. If you're not in a good mental headspace, and no matter what you believe, I am a Christian, but you're not going to be able to perform well, especially relying in yourself.
Right.
And then family, that one, ever since Oliver has been born, that's jumped. Like, family used to be, my brothers, my sisters, and things like that. But now that I have a wife and a kid, that has taken a much, much bigger priority. And I would say any free time that I have goes to them. And that's where, going and, hanging out with Oliver and Kayla has, superseded my time to read the Bible at night, and then, or pray. And then, similarly, I think your fitness, if you're not physically healthy, it's going to be really hard to be mentally healthy as well, because your body health affects your mental state. And if you're feeling sluggish, if you're feeling, drowsy, or you just, whether it's a confidence issue or whatever, it's not going to be good. And then finances, finances are huge. And obviously we're not just 9 to 5 employees. This takes up a large portion of our life. But if you're only focused on, I think that there's an and or. I think that there are people who are in the camp, but they only focus on their finances and their, financial goals, and they have nothing of those in line, or they have their family, their faith, and their fitness in line, but they're broke. And it's so, but I think actually, I don't know about that. I've seen that before, but I think that if you have those in line, I think that you're at least in a good enough mental state to where even if you aren't wealthy or rich or whatever, you're still happy, which is like, okay. And then you get down to, well, what are you actually pursuing in your your financial life and things like that? Why are you? Is it just to make money, or is it to help all of those 3?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's wrong. So I don't even remember. I don't even remember what the question was.
No, you were talking about the 4 pillars
Yeah.
of your,
Yeah.
I think the last one I'll touch base a little bit on that before I
Yeah.
share mine. But when you think about it, for men, in my opinion, like, it is always the protector, abundance, like,
Yeah.
the family man you want to be. And I think in nowadays, modern day, the way that a man approaches that is by providing financial stability.
Right.
And if you can't provide that, then how do you have a family? And if you don't have a family, it's like it all fruits to each other. Back in the day, you would have to hunt for your food. You would have to, pretty much kill for anything and everything to have something. Nowadays, it's a lot different. And so when you're saying that, it's like, it's just a natural thing that we were made to do, is be with family, provide for them, protect them financially, spiritually, and all that stuff. And it just aligns with itself. But yeah, it's natural, the fact that you feel that way.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, my goal would be to get the order of that correct, and working steadily to do that. But it's tough when you have those 4 things. It was a lot easier when I was 21, 22, didn't have a wife and kids or a business, but now it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
How about you?
That was pretty deep. That was pretty good. For me, I think I'm pretty much in the same boat. If you look at it, and if what I'm shooting for, definitely say, family, I would say, family, finances, and then fitness.
Right.
So a little bit, it's like
Different. Yeah.
I'll figure my
I figured that
Yeah.
you would have that
Um,
in that order, but that just based off, yeah.
yeah. And so, but what it's been like recently, and it's funny you said the way you said it, because if you would have asked me this question a year ago, I would have told you finances were my first one. And we talked about it earlier
Yeah.
when we were driving to the office. And right now, I think mine is family first right now. I don't know, something hit. The second one I would say would be fitness. And then I would say finances, and then or did I say, I said family,
Family, fitness,
family, faith.
fitness. You
No, family, finance, or no.
you said family. This is what you said: family, fitness, finances,
Yeah,
and I assume you were following with faith.
yeah. And so same boat. I mean, I'm only human. I am shooting to be a better Christian man and a better husband and a better father, but I mean, we all fall short. I mean, it's in my peripheral. I want to shoot for it, but it's very, very difficult, especially with just the world the way that it is. Like you said, we talked about it earlier, and it's just tough. Thinking about all the things that are happening, and how do you control that? You can
Yeah.
manage. Um, and I think one of the biggest things is just seeing what's happening in the world. And I'm a big believer in the Word of God and the Bible and everything like that. And that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
But everything that is happening and the prophecies and stuff, it really affects my mind to where I'm like, am I being a good steward of what the Lord's provided me with? Or am I being a coward and or a hypocrite and saying that I am a Christian but then acting a certain way? And we talked about that earlier, and I told you what's going on. And it's like the questions that I've asked myself and I've asked my wife, that I've been like, have I been a good husband? And I asked her spiritually speaking, and she said no. And how do you approach that? Like you take it with a grain of salt, and then you say, well, how can I do better? You don't say, oh, what do you mean? Like, I've read my Bible like a month ago. But it's like, no, when she's reading her Bible in the mornings, what am I doing? I'm not praying with her. I'm not reading the Bible. So that puts me that's why faith is just not what it should be, because I'm not putting the effort. But
Right.
yeah, that's kind of where mine kind of line up. And
Yeah.
that's a whole deep topic, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very important thing for people to realize that you don't need to put a forefront saying that, oh, my faith is first and my fitness is last. And I don't care about myself. But deep down inside, I know so many men that for sure put faith last,
Oh
because you're
yeah.
trying to
Oh
be
yeah.
the provider and the husband, and you're putting everything above your own self.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's very not faith centered.
Which is funny because I mean, back when before we opened the start of the company and all of these things happened, like I remember when I was dead broke and I made the commitment, to put God first and everything. And just my life exploded. So it's just, it's crazy how that works, where you slowly can drift away from that, even though you can look back and you can see all the way that God impacted your life and did those things.
Yeah.
Yet the world has its course and it does that. Because I guarantee you, which is going to continue my stride, but to put my faith first, I bet you everything else works out the way. And the funny thing is, it's not even works out the way that you want, because most of the time you don't even know what you want, but it works out the way that it needs to. So,
Yeah.
so that's, I've created thinking about that and having a flashback to that. I need to, get back on that.
Yeah. I think one thing that could help, in my opinion, and I'm working towards, is finding like-minded people that have same beliefs.
Yeah.
And so, like, I talk to you, about this kind of stuff, but I also talk to Ben. He's not, I don't know where he really stands, but he has really great points. He's a really good person. I talked to Marco, he's a leader at the church. Steve,
Yeah.
he also leads some men's Bible studies and stuff. And so I talk to people, and the biggest thing that I'm pursuing is being a better Christian man. And I am so far from it. And I'm trying to, it's like, you can ask me about roofing any day, and I could be like, oh, I know exactly what to do with this. But if you ask me how to be a good man, a faithful, like a faith-centered individual, I just sit back and I just listen, because I know I'm not where I need to be. I know how to be a man. I just don't know how to be a man of full faith, that I'm trusting God. I think the best thing I've done is just saying, like, it's like Marco told me, is like, the way you work because you feel like you're going to lose something. You know, like you feel like if you were to lose everything you've worked for tomorrow, what would you do and how would you act? And he's like, you want to know how I would do it? And he was like, I've done this before. So if I went broke and I had to file bankruptcy and I had to do all this stuff, he's like, I know I could start over and do it even better.
Yeah.
He's like, but my faith stays the same. Like I will not lose my faith. He's like, but what about you? And I was like,
Yeah.
dang, like,
Yeah. It's good. It's incredible
Yeah.
character. And I
how like that's pretty deep.
right. And you always hope that you would have that same reaction, but in reality, would you?
Right.
And that's the real question.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah. No, I
Right.
maybe binding, you know,
I have faith.
well, I will, yeah. And I'm
Tough.
take you up on that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like-minded individuals. If you're a product of the people that you hang out with, just like you're a product of what you eat. So,
So that's why
Yeah.
finances isn't one of my worries because I'm like, I honestly don't.
it's a good perspective. And it's funny how that flipped, because it used to be when we first started the business, like you were much more stressed out about business and finances, and I really wasn't. And then it's flopped. And I think it's flopped for good reasons, because I was, you know, in a point where I probably didn't care enough about it, where I should care more. And but now I think that's funny how that's
Yeah.
flipped.
Yes.
Either way, I don't think that it should be either of our primary focus.
Yeah.
I think that it can take a backseat in comparison to the other. I think the big two, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I don't.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good. That was
You guys are like 35, 40.
35, 40. No, I think that was good. I think that was enough to go over in.
That's gonna be a deep one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be good.
No, that was enough to go over in this one. I think if we dive any deeper, I'll give myself a headache, or I'll just feel terrible about myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, and it's good points. I mean, it's uncomfortable conversations that people need to have. I think one thing that other men entrepreneurs don't experience, and if you're a guy that runs a business and you're at home pulling your hair at night, you know, drinking, or you don't know how to manage the stress, or you don't know how to figure out how to make it happen. Like, because I feel like every man has an ambition to be successful. That's my opinion. I think every person wants to succeed, wants to have money, wants to have freedom, wants to enjoy their family and love on their wives and their kids. But money is a tool that you need to make a lot of those things happen. And I think a lot of people get caught up with the money aspect. So if you run a business, if you are neck deep in the waters and you're like, I don't know what to do, I think what you need to do is one, pray, but also just go spend time with your kid and your wife.
Yeah.
Just do that. Take time.
Yeah.
Sit back and enjoy that. And if you fail, you're human. There's so many people that fail. Just get back up and try it again and do it again and over again. And every day you just keep pushing like and like you should. And if you go bankrupt and if you shut down business for whatever reason, never let that stop you. Like ever. How many people have gone through that and get through it? So that's my opinion on that.
No, I agree. I think, Bible says righteous person falls down 7 times, gets up 8. So it's people that don't get back up again that are, it's not good. Don't do it. Yeah. But that's all I got. So.
Yeah. So with that being said, I guess we'll wrap this episode up. It was a little deeper. I don't even know if we were going to go that deep, but it's all right. I mean, hopefully somebody catches something encouraging from this one, because I just think now with today's day, there's a lot of negativity and stuff. And so,
and probably these thoughts ruminating that nobody ever gets the opportunity to have somebody to talk to, because I mean, there's things that you don't, and especially in today's day and age, you don't know who you can talk to these things about, who's going to get offended, who's not going to get offended. And
true. Yeah. So with that being said, we'll catch you guys on the next episode of Emotional Damage. I'm sick. No, I'm just kidding. We'll catch you guys on the next one. We'll talk a little bit more about faith, business and whatnot. And we'll wrap this one up.
All right. See you on the next one.
Peace.